Hello and welcome to another scene setting in the living world of darkness right across New York. As today we have a face-off between a Silver Fang and a Shadow Lord. Wow, what a show we're in
I'm gonna
for!
bet on the Get of Fenris.
What for? Like some
Do I
sort of
win?
random just interference play? Like he just runs in and smashes one of us over the back of the head before the fight even starts.
I mean, I don't know, man. I just came here for poker. So, where is Jacob in his longing day of being an old man with a high rank and stuff?
Ah, he's on a rocking chair.
I mean, you can't be. That's your right as an old man.
He's on a Silver Fang Salt Porch, the only real one, because the other one is neglected and unused. Um, Most irresponsible use of the Silver Fang Salt Porch by the Seekers. But Jacob, no, he's where you can normally find him at his cabin drinking tea because it's the Strider's cabin, and it's also known as the tea time porch because, frankly, he has like tea time with like half a dozen different individuals there now.
And well, for uh, for his part, Raphael is gonna approach the porch. I'm not I'm not gonna do the sneaky. Just gonna do normal walk, which is more terrifying. As yeah, he will approach the porch with I guess a cup of coffee because you know Silverfang drinks tea, Shadow also drink coffee. Never-ending war.
Yeah, I mean, fucking really? Can't catch a break anywhere, man. Well, you're heading over to the cabin with your coffee, just straight Starbucks heresy. Um,
Please, I make it myself. Like, don't insult me.
okay, fair enough. Fair enough. You make your own coffee. This is, if nothing else, at least you own your faults. Um, yeah, no, Jacob is drinking that fine that fine tea that he makes himself because, of course, he owns his triumphs. Yeah, I guess they're gonna meet as you walk on over to him. I assume with
Yeah,
your your liquid treachery.
and yeah, he's going to as I said, he approach and he's going to you know what? Yeah, fuck it. I'm gonna do it. He is gonna make a Slav crouch as he he looks up. He looks up, technically showing his throat because he has to look up as he take a sip. Oh, hello.
Jacob looks down a little bit confused at the crouching tiger in front of him. Uh, there is a moment where he clearly just tilts his head. Hello there, I don't believe we've been introduced.
Ah, sorry. Of course. How silly of me. Silly of me, of course. As he yeah, he puts his coffee down down on the porch and do do a little courteous bow as if he was wearing a dress. I am Raphael de la Villa, Shadow Lord Ragabash Cliff.
Oh.
I trust you must be Jacob Clay, Raya.
Yep.
Oh, shit.
Ahmed Philodox Sorfang Foston. You don't have to stay crouched like that.
Oh, thank you. That's very kind of you. As he gets up, taking his coffee.
And so it begins.
So, I heard that you were kind of a specialist in terms of vampires around here.
I wouldn't call myself a specialist. To be honest, I learned most of what I have from my alpha. But yeah, I know more about them than the average gyro, I guess.
Hmm. So I heard that we had some problems with the ones that makes things out of nowhere.
Yes, I heard about that. Unfortunately, I wasn't there when those attacks happened, but yes, that is a capability they possess, although one that doesn't seem to be a particularly common or even universal ability. In fact, it's rather recent. Like we're seeing a lot of it now, but haven't seen a lot of it before that point.
Happens sometimes. It's always difficult to know. They are. They're always different, and their Wemish powers are always different.
Yeah, the powers are divvied up into their so-called clans. Yeah, quotes. The so-called part.
Hmm. So I know the others. They didn't spoke very much. They mostly don't really know. They just see bangs. They assume it's bangs. Have the Ankh shown its face here or not?
Sorry, what did he say? Has
The Ankh,
the Ankh?
the Sabbath sigil.
Isn't the camera also an Ankh? And the Sabat is just an inverted Ankh?
Technically, technically,
Goddamn Ragabash. There was a brief period where I suppose it depends on which one you're referring to.
on a pure OC levels, there's only one bunch of fuckers that actually show their Ankh because the other one
That's true. The others
other
go
one
out of their way
knows
to
it's a
hide
bad
it.
idea.
Yeah, they actually, the camera is actually, it has common sense as a merit. So he'll just say, right, yes, there was a brief period where they kicked out another group of leeches and took control of the city for a short time. But their grip has largely been loosened, if not broken entirely. You'll still find them in Staten Island, though. That's where they tend to congregate.
Mm.
A lot of wormish things in Staten Island. This is a no-go area. There's a hive down there.
Well, that's another good piece of information to know. Well, at least their power have been broken, at least in this part.
For now, appears the leeches are
Calm.
on the move again with all these weird illusionary attacks running around. Every time it hits night, there's a bunch of mass murders. Don't really understand why. They usually tend to keep them, well, I mean, they're violent monsters, but they tend to have a degree of common sense. They're not usually savage beasts. If you
There's a
understand what I mean.
he laughs. He laughs when you say, they have common sense. Oh, oh, that's a good one. I think I think you don't really have the habit of having the sword in place, do you? They tend to not be very clever.
Oh no, I'm aware those ones tend to run around being edgy teens and just fucking breaking all the rules because they can or whatever. The ones we had in charge tend to keep themselves hidden. Those are the ones with common sense, I guess, as far as it goes. They didn't have the audacity to just go running around saying, "Hey, look, humans, we exist."
Well, it really it really depends on where you live. Here, I would expect them more to be hiding. It's not it's not the same in Mexico. They tend to well, they tend to own the place.
Ugh. Sorry to hear that. Those things are pretty bad when the Sept took over this city as well.
I guess we can't all be lucky after all. I mean, we got Leech's problem. Currently, you got Apocalypse problem, as he tends to point out to the museum.
Yeah, that's not really my purview though. I don't know if you just handle that one. Ain't nothing I can do with some big rock.
So, what have the leaders of the nation done about it?
What, the rock?
Yeah.
Last I heard, they were letting the Fierges of the Sept handle it. Not sure how much progress they've made, though. Might be better to talk to 10 Point, Talatekin. Trying to think of other people who may have been assigned to it. Maybe Binding Tempest.
So, you mean Horny and who's the last one?
10 Point, Binding Tempest, Talatehin. She's a pretty small Wendigo.
Oh, I'm sure we'll be great friends
I'm sure it'll be great.
if she doesn't try to take my heart out.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
Okay. I see.
I think she might be a bit snappy with you. I'm sure everything will work out.
I mean, Raya, being snappy is kind of my job.
Okay,
And
right. She'll probably try and take your heart out.
and well, I'm a Shadow Lord. Everybody loves my tribe.
Great. That's what you get from Jacob. Great, yeah. Uh,
So, as a Philodox, and as the rightful leader of a nation, as he bites into his apples, smugly, what is your judgment of this place and these pacts?
let's see. He just kind of like he kind of turns his the palm of his left hand to himself and then raises up 3 fingers to count how many packs are on Sept. Well, got my pack of Striders, you got the Seekers, and you got Shadow Runners. I think you got some other up and coming pack with the Wormtho and Bone Nor Ragabash. I haven't actually had the opportunity to meet yet, and Glasswalker Fjord. Nominally known as Roxy Socks because those deed names, man. But they don't have a totem yet. I think they were looking for Weasel as a patron. So I can't really speak too much on them because they haven't really done anything yet. They're still forming. Shadowrunner's been doing some good stuff lately. But to be honest, a lot of it is heavily slanted towards the Alpha Teresa and Fiona Galliard Searsha. They're somewhat anchored by their 2 other pack mates. One is just frankly incompetent and terrible at getting anyone on board and just pisses everyone off. And the other took some very questionable questionable actions in regards to Chiminage about a month and a half back, which has soured her reputation over everyone else. So I guess it's 2 individuals kind of carrying 2 other individuals on their back right now.
Shadowrunners. Huh. I guess nerds still have their quotes.
Well, Glasswalker is the alpha. They follow Hummingbird. They're actually pretty good at fighting.
Well, yeah, I see then. The shooting kind.
I haven't really had much interactions with a pack outside of Teresa, also known as Public Enemy.
Wow,
And
that's a program.
yeah. Other than that, my last interaction was probably an argument I had with Binding Tempest regarding her requests. He quotes requests for people to pay Chiminage on her behalf effectively. We can argue till the cows come home about how it's on behalf of the set, but the day it was on her behalf. Which is a shame because she hasn't been really too bad of a Fiorge at all. She just has put herself into a lot of debt recently. I believe it's paid off now, which is good, but people remember shit.
I mean, only idiots forget. That's kind of why the Wendigo really hates us. Because they're not idiots.
That's why a lot of people hate each other. All of the tribes in general have their own individual rivalries going back generations of other tribes. Yeah.
I mean, technically, it's kind of hard when we can talk to our ancestors, and the ancestors, we keep telling you, hey, Raphael, this one, he's an asshole. You should fuck him up.
Yeah, I can see how someone's opinion would be colored when that tribe may or may not have had a hand in your death. I can
I
see
know.
why someone would hold a grudge.
Which could ask a question that maybe the Bondara and the Glasswalkers are onto something, not having purebred ancestors. As he looks at Jacob like to study his reaction.
The statement amuses him. It gets kind of a laugh out of him. He just says, "Fair point, but."
But I'm sure both of our tribe kind of disregard that statement.
I like all things that has its merits and flaws. You start contacting your ancestors, you have the advantage of, well, perhaps a stronger imperative to move on, which is an advantage in its own right, but you also lose the push and pull that you get with them and the power that comes with that. So I suppose it comes down to individual preference. That's just why everyone's so divided on it.
Oh, I'm gonna roll manipulation Sept if you jump this one.
Da, 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 da,
No. One success. You have one.
I got two.
Yes, but I have one. I have one success, so it means you only have one.
No.
I know basic maths.
Stop mathing. Beat your subterfuge, you bitch.
I mean, my character is not very social. he just gives for when you say your ancestor pushed you to move forward. He has a side glance for a second of like.
Oh no! He said like not having an ancestor gives one an imperative to move forward. Not actually having one. Having one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No. Somehow then you just catch a very very small nod.
Yep. I personally don't contact my ancestors all that often. Has happened, but I don't have the innate connection that others do.
I mean, that's why they have theages.
Yeah, precisely.
So, the Shadowrunners, okay. He seems to have a pretty 50-50 opinion.
I mean, 50-50 on an individual basis. Overall, they've done good. As long as Binding Tempest keeps her act clean, it'll probably be even better.
All right.
I don't trust Kumbhakarna. I don't know if you've heard of him.
Not really.
Yeah, probably best that you don't. He'll only end up pissing you off. I mean, you'll probably have a ball. Like, there's so much to laugh at, but yeah, causes a lot of problems with people like myself.
I mean, there's no point in shooting at passing ambulance. You just have to break the wheels. Well, okay.
Seekers. I mean, you have to understand I'm biased because the Seekers are pretty traditional and I'm not.
Oh, you're a revisionist.
I would say revisionist, more reformist. But that's me being political. Reformist sounds more positive than revisionism.
Uh, but yeah, yeah. Horny and curly. Yeah, I saw them.
Yeah, Kelly. I mean, we understand that we don't like each other. For the most part, we're able to work with the Seekers when it counts, but they have a habit of imposing. The best out of them, ironically, I think, would be their Omega 10 point.
Hmm. She gives me
Perhaps
more
this
the
is why I'm
impression
not a
of a beater
traditional. Oh,
dog.
sorry. Yeah. To be honest, perhaps this is why I'm not a traditionalist, though, because out of my way, she'd probably be the alpha, just because she's been the most useful, diplomatic, cooperative, and
I mean, Raya
capable
is kind of.
individual out of the entire group. Haven't really had a chance to contact Banshee, though, all that much. She tends to be on and off Sept quite a bit.
I mean, Raya, the point of being traditionalist is especially not to have the clever people in charge. As he smirks, looking at Jacob.
You spoil me. Yeah, they have a Fianna, some sort of Fianna royalty called Banshee in charge, and they have one of my tribe as a beta. He's known as Predator's Focus. Uh, it's called Alien.
Mm, that seems like a wonderful program. Let me guess. You love each other very much.
And we're able to work together. I wouldn't say I really hate anyone on the Seekers. I think they'll have some degree of merit. I would say, though, that they've perhaps been the least active, and I would hesitate to say least. I wouldn't say incapable, more the least capable.
Ooh, that hurts.
10 point is quite capable, and I mean, Aiden's a guardian, but he's good at throwing a punch and doing sneaky Ragabash things, I guess, but he tends
Yeah,
to cause some social issues on Sept. We had a kinfolk riot a while back, ended up escalating it instead of calming it down. He also didn't exactly tell me didn't tell the kin or myself the whole truth on that issue, which is something I recently found out.
he he, he looks at Jacob as he starts to smile. Oh, tell me more. That seems extremely interesting for me.
It is us. I've actually been even. It's been like a freaking talk at a town. Talk of like 5 fucking towns at this point. So there was a. There were a few spirals that had decided that it would be a wonderful idea to start hunting down our kinfolk, and they managed to lure one to Staten Island and basically poisoned him when he came back onto Sept. Well, by the time he came back onto Sept, he was already poisoned and dying. They also killed another. So there was a real risk to our kinfolk. Like the spirals were going out of their way to hunt them down. One thought it would be a fantastic idea to then order every single kinfolk in the city to now remain on Sept until the issue was resolved. Without exception. I think you could yeah. Talking around what 400 to 500 kin, all trapped on a single park, have jobs, families. need to feed themselves. Doing a lot of background things for us. A lot of ground level support operations. This fucking... Jesus Christ, that fucking picture is amazing. And...
Oh, please, please, please tell me there was a riot.
Oh god, you know it. So... There was a riot. Before that, they were actually making signs to say... They were literally putting up signs on the Sept. They're already like small-scale protests by about a few dozen individuals at a time. With them like having the send us home, you know, giant cardboard signs, wooden signs. And it got to the point where about 100 to 200 of them just did a fucking giant sit-in on the Sept. And just refused to do anything. Lighting up a massive bonfire on the Sept. Had a bunch of signs up mocking the ruling authorities. It was actually quite as someone who's been to protests before, not just as a participant, but as a police officer sent to manage them, it was remarkably well organized. And yeah, they were just causing a massive ruckus on Sept, had a bunch of bonfires set up, just sitting down, refusing to move, refusing to do anything. To be honest, if it'd last longer, I would not have been surprised if it turned into a fucking hunger strike, because some of them were literally starving. And a few Garu walk up to them, myself included, and one of my pack mates known as Kache. And Aiden. Have you met Dallas, by the way? Because Dallas walks up to them. She's a Fenrir Arun.
Oh, please, please tell me. Okay, she got one, and she beat every single one of them with it.
Well, she probably tried. Oh, she's going to, I think. But, I mean, we shut her ass down pretty quickly. I mean, this is the person that is a traditionalist, but went out of her way to deed name someone as if she were a Galliard. So I don't really care about her opinion or her at all, really.
I'm just going to point out he has a small he has a small book, and he's writing down.
Yeah, Jacob literally just says like, yeah. It's like, yeah, that's
and
what
then,
she did.
He makes an angry face,
angry
meme face,
angry meme face,
and puts yeah, basically, it's a very bad drawing. Yeah, it's a very bad drawing of of a kid of Fenris who beats people up. Okay, I see.
Yeah, it's just like a stick figure with just like like the Fenris symbol, but it's so badly drawn it looks like a fucking swastika. Oh my fucking god! No,
you're the one who said that. I didn't.
No.
Anyway,
depends on how much program you have in drawing. I'm assuming none. This is bad news, Bears. Oh god. So yeah. To be fair, one of them threw a rock at Aiden. He was just kind of telling him to go home now.
Well,
I was a big at the time why he said that, because there was no word that the Kinfolk were to be sent home at all. I mean, it was knowledge to, particularly to my pack, because we don't have any pack, and any one of our members in the Guardians, that anyone was to be sent home. Of course, I told my kin not to come onto the Sept at all when this order was made, because why would I? It's a humanitarian fucking crisis waiting to happen, which it turned into.
Yeah, I can see.
So you have Aiden telling everyone to basically go home, gets a rock thrown at him. He's like, oh, it's fucking on now, you pieces of shit, all that stuff. This is Fianna, by the way, you know, the people who love their kin so much.
Well, I mean, you love your kin so much until the point where they actually call you a piece of shit. then you have to show them some loving.
Oh, you should have been there. He was like arguing, "Oh yeah, we've been reason we like you're talking shit to us, but we've been on the front lines. We've been doing this fat." Basically, he's been saying we've been doing literally the bare minimum of our job requirement, completely ignoring the fact that his kin are currently starving on a Sept who have just lost their jobs because they've been on Sept for 2 weeks and haven't been able to walk off. So yeah, he's basically lecturing them. He's telling them to shut the fuck up, to deal with it, go home. The kinfolk are saying, we don't have a fucking home to go back to. We've been gone for 2 weeks. Some of us have not been able to pay our rent. Some of us do not have homes. Some of us do not have jobs. Some of us even lost our families. Because do you seriously think that all of us are married to kin or garu? Do I look?
Wow, you're almost saying that they have lives outside of the nation.
Yeah, what a surprise that turned out to be. It's almost as if they're people.
Nah, they're not really people.
Yeah,
Like, let's be real. They can't be people.
yeah, just the automatons that do things for us, right? And Dallas started getting a bit riled as Aiden got riled. Katya brought them pizza, and was actually trying to calm everyone down, including myself. I mean, normally I would try to take a balanced issue when it comes to something like this, but frankly, like, you can't keep hundreds of kin on Sept for weeks at a time without food or the means to sustain themselves or live actual lives. So I was pretty much just saying they have a point. Stop ignoring what they're trying to say, because that's what you're doing. Yes, you've been on the front lines. That's your job. That doesn't entail you to just tell them what to do arbitrarily and then basically put them in a very, very green-looking prison. Eventually, it got to the point where it's like, dude, seriously, you're just pissing them off. You're encouraging them to get violent. And he's like, why don't you shut up? And I'm like, okay, I didn't know we were 5-year-olds. Katche is busy trying to bring reason to this. 10 points just trying to keep everyone calm. Talate Hume was there. She was playing a harmony flute to keep everyone from just killing each other, which was good. And then eventually got to the point where one of them just stood up. Well, didn't stand up, but stood up to Aiden and Dallas. And he's like, dude, we're not going to do what you're going to say. We're not going to do that. He's called Jeremy, by the way. He's an absolute baller. Like, he's saying, you have us on a fucking prison. You can't tell us what to do because you've literally taken everything away from us. You've literally removed all the leverage you have over us is gone because you put us in a fucking jail cell, effectively. Why should we fucking care about you? You treat us like shit. We do everything for you. Stop treating us like shit and let us live our lives. And stop keeping us from getting jobs and separating us from our fucking families, you scumbags. So that happened. Dallas got mad. Says, know your fucking place. Well, she says, well, we can work things out. There's a place for you. Jeremy says, yeah, that's it. There's a place for us. It's like, it's this. Dallas was like, know your fucking place. I'll put you in it. I was like, if you can try, I will kick your ass, basically. Because, frankly, no one is really on the side of these two at this point in time. And everyone, including 10 Point, who is a part of Aiden's pack, is saying, we need to calm the fuck down. Eventually, we managed to maneuver our way to the actual core points of the issue after cajoling these two to actually participate. Well, Dallas doesn't. She just storms off and pretends like she matters. Aiden, however, can be cajoled to actually helping. Gets to a point that Jeremy says, look, the kinfolk have been mistreated. We've been kept on this set for a long time. We are not recognized for what we do. We are generally not treated very well. And this is the straw that breaks the camel's back, essentially. Because before this, there was also a race riot between the Fenrir and the Fianna and the Pure Tribes. That's another story all in and of itself. So this was obviously something that had been escalating up until this point, and lol. This is something that had been escalating for a while. But we then get to the core issue that the kin actually need our help. One, because we've just fucking ruined half of their lives. And two, that we need to actually communicate and treat our kin better. So I say, look, I can't get you everything back. Neither can Kache, neither can Aiden. But we can at least try and get you guys back on track and return to you what we took. And this is our responsibility because we fucked up here. So I managed to get about 20 people. I mean, I've managed to get about 24 people jobs at this point. There was about 100 to 200 kin there, so it's not a great deal of people. I know Kache got quite a lot of people involved in construction, and I know Roxy Socks was actually there. He managed to get people jobs in, well, of course, in fucking financial services. He's a glasswalker. What do you expect? He was a bit like the Wormfoes PR man in a way. It was very, what would you say? You know how someone has that very measured accent and they're almost borderline emotionless? There's this like really weird temperance to how they speak when they like when you yell, but you speak in like a very monotone way. That's how I was speaking, and I later learned that was because a lot of people there, in fact, almost everyone on the fucking Sept apart from my pack, because we didn't have anyone in the Guardians. Turns out that the reason this happened was because the warder belayed the Wormfoes order. It was just no one ever said anything about it. Which means that right never even had to happen. And no one had to lose their jobs or their families. Or starve. So we eventually managed to disperse it, take everything down, but it never even had to fucking happen at all. Someone just needed to fucking say, hey, we're not actually keeping you in a fucking prison. You can go home now. Because the warder said you could go home, literally hours after the order was made. 2 weeks! No one said shit. I was wondering why all the kinfolk on Sept were like, I am starving. I need to go back to my job. My family's wondering where I am. Because it's certainly not fucking Occupy. So yeah, that happened. That actually happened. And now I've gotten a meeting with Aiden, and now 10 Point and me are basically serving as liaisons for the kin, which, to be honest, is, well, it's now becoming official, even though I've been doing it for the past month and a half. And Katchel most likely becoming a Guardian. Because apparently, Guardians aren't allowed to say anything. They have to keep everything to themselves. Apparently, we're not supposed to communicate orders that have been made by the fucking warder to other people.
Okay. So I have a question for you, OC, with this statement.
Yes.
Are you hiding your feelings?
Oh god, no. He's obviously pissed off about this.
Okay, no, because the question is that Raphael wants to determine if you're trying to fuck with him by saying, "Oh yeah, no, Guardian discussion is like super duper secret and stuff," or if you're just hyperboling and making slightly exaggerating for the sake of saying that you're not happy with how things are going.
Well, obviously he's giving you a bit of a Cliff Notes version. Like, he's not going through necessarily the details of what's been said. And he's obviously kind of meandered slightly.
Mm.
So there's obviously some degree of hyperbole, just because it's not the actual, it's like as full of stories you can get as a Cliff Notes version, but it's still like, he's still, his emotions are still on the issue, have still colored his words a little bit.
Okay.
But for the most part, he's absolutely being honest of how he feels, and pretty much I think the entirety of his statement is true, apart from the whole maybe well, fuck Dallas up thing. I mean, they largely just talked her down and just said, like, you're not going to do that, fuck off.
Mhm.
But I mean, even that is largely true
So,
anyway.
so what you're saying is that
He's
the
biased but
Guardians
earnest.
are the secret police?
He just kind of raises his hands up as if to say, ah. I mean, they're not supposed to be. I think this, I mean, ultimately just came down to a miscommunication. It's something I've talked to the Wormfer about. It's something I've talked to the other Guardians about. Something I've talked to Tenpoint about. Something I've talked to my pack about. And something I've been talking to the Kin about, most importantly. I've been dealing with this issue for like, it's coming upwards of like 2 months now. So, and ultimately it was just like a misunderstanding, but it should have never reached that point to begin with. It should have been resolved immediately. It's just no one really bothered. I know some of the Guardians told like their claimed kin, but that was it. So it would never, the word never really got around, of course, because you know, no one, no one else knew. The claim kin knew, but they didn't fucking know. No one else fucking knew. And my pack didn't know because we had no one in the Guardians. So I mean, if I knew, I'd have shut this shit down immediately. To be honest, I should have just walked up to the Wormfoot and said, "You realize this is the stupidest order of all time, right?" I should have done that like as soon as I heard the bloody order. Just because there's no way that order was going to actually function in a realistic sense for any degree of time other than a couple of days. Can't keep everyone on Sept for weeks and weeks and weeks. Doesn't work. It's just not. It's not practical. I mean, he's just torpedoed his own operations because it's not like kinfolk don't report to him on issues in the city.
So, if I'm getting it correct, no one has been ragabashed around these parts.
No, no, it seems like the one relevant Ragabash on Sept has been more than content to satisfy the status quo. It's kind of sad, really. I mean, everyone else is the guys having to teach Aiden, and 10 points having to teach Aiden lessons, not really him, us. It's a bit, it's a bit disappointing, to be honest. I mean, it like his kin literally walked out on him during that riot. That's how bad it was. Like his kin walked out on him because he's like, if you think you can do better than us, walk the fuck away. And then they did
Hmm.
because they were done giving any fucks
I
about
think
that situation.
I think you're being way too mean about it. That's clearly some, reverse psychology ragabashing. Make your kinfolk go away and somehow they'll learn the lesson. You know,
I mean, they were largely starving and lost their jobs, and so he was kind of like, they were like genuinely pissed off, and they were most of the kin there were pretty confident. Yeah, we can because we had
hmm.
jobs and lives before this, and if we just leave, I mean, we're not
So,
working for you anymore. The enemy's going to prioritize you over us. And not all
hmm.
of us have this special super duper supernatural scent that allows us to be identified and tracked down. Most
Okay.
of
I get it. I get it now. I get it now. He basically played the British government on his kinfolk. Okay.
yeah, he was like, I don't know, being some Margaret Thatcher-esque asshole.
Okay. So the traditionalists are weirdos, and the one that makes the more sense is horny. Okay.
Yeah, she's been pretty cool with everything. I mean, you can disagree with her and she's not going to lose her shit or impose on you. It's amazing. Like, you can actually have a discussion with her. It's great. I wish I had more of that. Because Aiden rests on the fence a lot. He gets defensive quite a lot.
Uh,
Balian, I mean, Balians of my tribes have had to kind of dodge the issue, you know what I mean? I mean, it's not really
uh,
gotten in the way of our job so far either, so it hasn't really been a topic of conversation. Like, we're both doing Philodox things, but it hasn't really. It's not like I want to push this ultra traditionalist angle. Apart from that one time where he wanted to crucify Metis, which I went through with and regret. That was a mistake I will not make again. Granted, that guy deserved some harsh shit because he broke the Sept totem's ban and endangered the Sept.
Rafael just gotta make a pause. It's, there's a mention of crucifying kinfolk, crucifying Metis.
Mm.
And he's like, wow. Wow, I didn't know your tribe was into Roman shits.
Um,
You
so
know,
I'm not.
next thing we know, you guys are going to have SPQR tattooed on your arm and just go power to the Senate.
Well, I'm to be completely honest. From what I hear, it's a European thing. Like, I don't follow these like stupid, fucking like. I'm never crucifying anyone ever again. That was fucked up in like 19 different ways, and
It's okay.
yeah.
You just wash your hand with it.
Fuck no! I literally put a nail into that asshole.
Oh, okay, Longinus. Okay.
I don't get to wash my hands of that shit. I did it.
Oh, wow. Well, I'm sorry, but Metis Jesus won't be able to redeem you from that sin.
I mean, granted, this guy was like a massive dick, but yeah, that happened.
So, I also heard that there is a great imbalance in the force in one of the pack. So, who is Mr. Power Imbalance?
Power imbalance?
I mean, according to the Stargazer, there's someone who's really into the triad, and from what I understand,
Oh, right, William.
he's
Yeah,
not very
fuck.
balanced.
Yeah, no, William is well tainted. I'd stay the fuck away from him if at all possible. Which is a shame because I actually really like him and he used to be a really good person until the wild got his fucking hands on him. Which, I mean, is actually kind of sad that I have to treat the wild as a like it's a fucking antagonist, but like what member of the tree is really our ally at the end of the day? They're just forces of nature. People need to stop treating them as if if any of them are our best friends. They're not. Worm is literally our enemy. The Weaver literally drove the Worm mad in the first place, and the Wild is just fucking unreality that just renders people insane just by being near people. And that's what the Wild did to William. He used to be extremely balanced. Didn't like. You'd be hard pressed to convince him to kill anyone, and then he just walks up to a hospital and burns it down with literally everyone in it, including a lot of innocent people. Doesn't even consider alternatives.
Well, that's something.
I think the Theurges are working on a way to get him back on track, but it's like, I mean, we cleanse Worm Taint, we don't cleanse Wild Taint or Weaver Taint. I remember back when I was a cub, we actually had someone Weaver Tainted who couldn't come on Sept. It's yeah, it's a mess. But I mean,
And what of his pack? What are they doing?
oh pardon.
I
Children
suppose
of
the
the
guy got a pack.
right, Children of the Spirit Wilds, yeah. So I believe Talatehina's their alpha. She's working to get William cured because, well, he's her packmate. So, but again, I'm kind of, I'm no spiritual expert, so I'm leaving that up to her. I'll be there to help if she needs it. But it's, that's her story and that's her trial. I know other theurges are helping out as well, though.
Mm-hmm. And what about you? What's your judgment of yourself and your friends?
I mean, I'm biased, obviously.
I mean, that's the whole point, isn't it?
Honestly, well, we're the longest running pack on this set. We've been around a long time relative to all the other packs. I'd say the only pack that really comes close to us is the Shadowrunners, and they're kind of anchored down by a really idiotic Bone Nora Theurge who doesn't know what he's doing. If they didn't have him, they'd probably be on our level, to be honest. But I'd say we're still probably the most powerful and relevant pack on Sept.
That's
We've been doing a lot
interesting.
of things with in regards to getting rid of the leeches. Infiltrated a hive, killed a Spiral Dancer pack and a Spiral Elder. Worked in tandem with the other packs to take out Endron's ambitions for the forest. They were trying to strike all there, bulldoze the place, put a giant ore rig there.
Hmm.
We've been doing quite a lot of things. And recently our numbers look like they're going to be growing again. Because we were still doing things even when there were basically only 2 or 3 of us. Now that there's going to be 4 of us, maybe even, well, now that there's 4 of us, potentially even 5 in the future, we look to be back on the level, back to where we used to be. I remember back when Contempt of Court was the alpha. I mean, I'm trying to. It doesn't sound like it, but I'm trying to downplay the accomplishments of the Striders. But back then, it wouldn't have even have been a dispute. The Striders would have been indisputably the most powerful pack on Sept when Contempt of Court was in charge. But then we lost him. We lost Ping, and Eric was encouraged to resign. I'm not going to talk about that. That's a complicated issue. But Eric, the current Wormfoe, all his ash used to be part of our pack. He's not anymore. Something I'll keep to myself. Shit went down, basically, obviously, because he was the alpha, and alphas don't just leave packs for no reason. But that's between him and us, no one else.
You know, it's funny. With all the packs, we talk about their failures or their weakness. You say you're on and not really traditionalist, and yet things is you describe your pack as being the most powerful pack and being on top of a food chain. That's an interesting way to talk about one's pack.
I mean, I'm not sure in terms of raw power, but in terms of if we're going to look at it from a political angle, I'd say we're the most powerful by far. Honestly, we have both myself and Charles Richards Gold have been around for quite as while, and we haven't made many mistakes. Yeah, relative to. I mean, the Shadowrunners, Teresa hasn't made many mistakes, and neither has Seisha. It's just that they have 2 pack mates, one who recently made a very big mistake, and one guy who can't seem to stop making them. So it kind of, it reflects badly on them as well, if you understand what I mean, because they operate as a unit, because they're part of a pack. It's like a political party in a way. One guy, one congressman fucks up, and the entire party gets hurt by that. Like it, can affect like entire national polls. It can affect like
Mm-hmm.
neighboring states. It can affect that sort of thing.
Yeah, No, no. I see what you say. I just find it interesting the way you word things.
I'm just trying to be as down to earth about it as possible. At the end of the day, Shadowrunners are a good pack in general, and I mean, I wouldn't say on top of the food chain. There's more it's more contestable than that, but yeah, probably the most powerful. I mean, we haven't. None of us have really tested the theory. I'm sure you understand. When it's going to walk up to each other and start beating the shit out of each other, or start like making moves against each other. The Shadowrunners and my pack tend to align actually a lot on a lot of issues. Of course, Seekers not so much, but we're still friendly enough. We haven't gone to war or anything. There's no pack warfare. Uh, as much as people and myself complain about the political issues, the alternative is violence, and politics is almost always preferable to that.
Mm, depends. Sometimes you need to exchange blows. It's better than talking.
Mm. And we do have a
But
system that does enable that, fortunately.
I mean, with all due respect, Raya, that's what challenges are all about. You know,
Mm.
I don't like someone, he doesn't like me. We challenge each other to see who's right and who's wrong. And if he beats me, then yeah, cool, he beat me. I was wrong. Doesn't change the fact that I may think otherwise, but he showed that he was better than me. That's the whole point of a challenge.
Mm.
But as he raised his hands defensively, at least it is still interesting to see that no matter how much we like to stay away from traditions, our tribes are still not far from the tree. As as he smiles at Jacob,
Suppose you're right. What about yourself, though? What brought you to the Sept? Haven't met you up until now. You got me going.
I mean, I wouldn't be a very good shadow lord if I didn't make you talk more than I did.
This is true.
But as of me and my reasons, well, as he stretched, I'm here for mystical bullshit reasons. An Adrian of my tribe just told me you should go to New York, and I said yes, Raya.
That sounds less mystical and more military.
I mean, okay, let me rephrase it for you then. Raphael, you need to go there. The answers, some answers that you may seek, may come to fruition, and maybe you will find what you seek, or maybe what you seek shall find you. Is this more mystical for your liking?
Okay, yeah, that sounds a bit more mystical.
You know how Fearges are, especially when they grow older. They don't really explain to you the shit. Like, obviously, they know more. They won't tell you because that's part of the whole I'm a shaman. I can't explain you that shit because otherwise, well, that would be way too simple. Something regarding self discovery or some shit.
That's the God-fearing mindset, isn't it?
Well, I mean, you
Fear what
know,
you worship, right?
hmm?
It's fear what you worship, right? Because it's a deterrent.
I mean, we all got our shit. Like, Ragabash are a bunch of assholes. Fearges are way too cryptic. You guys have a stick in your ass. The Galliard just seems to be completely entranced by the new things, and the runes are on cocaine 24/7.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
But okay, I will I will then continue my Philodox tour.
Yep, Katche's up next on the list. She's also part of my pack.
What tribe?
Bonora.
Oh boy. Oh boy, that's gonna be an interesting one.
Hey, Katche's lovely. Don't talk shit.
He puts a hand on his chest. I'm offended. I'm offended, sir. Aren't you the one who is actually talking shit because you assume I'm gonna talk shit because she's a Bonar?
I think it's all about
Maybe
the
you should
implication
have an
there.
introspection, your lordlyship.
I mean, I've talked shit about quite a few people today, but they already know that I talk shit, so. And they deserve it. They deserved it this one time. I remember that fucking Kinfolk riot.
Don't worry. I'm sure the kinfolk remembers.
Oh god, yes, they will. I'll make sure they will.
Well, I will catch you later then. And we shall see what happens in the future.
That sounds very ominous. He drinks his tea.
I mean, that's kind of my job.
Fine.
Sounding ominous as fuck, making people nervous, having them, look behind their back because obviously I'm gonna backstab people.
Ah, spooky ghost.
Exactly. I'm the spooky ghost of past Christmas. And I'm here to tell you that, well, Christmas past is here to make you remember.
Oh, I thought it was going to be the ghost of Christmas future. That's the really ominous one.
Well, no, the thing is that the future is pretty obvious. The ghost of Christmas past actually hurts you because you remember you were happy and now you're a piece of shit. You know,
Hmm.
he's the real asshole. And with that, he will make his leave, as he will enjoy being the ghost of Christmas past.
And he spooks off with his coffee. And yeah, Jacob just thinks to himself, I'm going to like this guy. As I think we can end the scene there. See, the spooky ghost spooks away, and Jacob teases tea. Thank you, player, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. We'll see you next time.